So if you would have told me 5 years ago that I'd be standing up here in front of everyone talking about hemp, I would have thought you were absolutely crazy. I'm here to tell you why hemp is marijuana's cooler cousin, and part of that's because of all the entrepreneurial products that you can make from hemp. And one of which is rope. And 2700 BC, ancient China was already using rope for food, fiber, and health products. In the 1600s, hemp actually came to North America, and farmers were mandated to grow it for rope. They had to. Now, you see that hemp and marijuana are actually both cannabis. They both have, basically, the only difference is that hemp has under 0.3 THC, which is the psychoactive component, but both plants have cannabinoids too. With cannabis, you see that in 1937, the US government made it illegal in the Marijuana Tax Act. Canada shortly followed. It wasn't until 1998 that Canada legalized it, and the US has since followed in 2018. So you're seeing this resurgence. But there's so much misunderstanding around the terminology. You'll see signs like the Cannabis and Hemp Expo. That's like saying the Insect and Bees Expo. So you see this, even confusion with hemp being used as an acronym for weed is very common. So what should you do about this? So one is to basically create mass education and mass awareness about the difference in the plants. This picture is taken in the Bioprocessing Incubation Center in Edmonton, where you can actually make hemp cosmetics. And telling stories about people is key. So, traveled around Alberta, have been in a place in the prairies called Bow Island, and it is not an island there. Traveled up north to a place like High Level, and what I've seen is that there are only seed farming happening right now, no fiber. And the north is well positioned for fiber because of the growing. I thought hemp farmers would be hippies. I was imagining like dreadlocks or like maybe like a peace sign shirt, but they're really conservative, really innovative, and they're making a lot of money. So that's my experience meeting them and getting to interact in their fields. And farmers are badass. That is an actual fire that happened from combining hemp. And part of this is why education is so important, because you have to have your moisture content right, and you have to have combine modifications. Europe has, of course, more advanced combines and they don't start on fire, but this is why education is so important. And farmers have to make business plans to actually farm hemp. It's not like the grain industry where you go to like a grain elevator and you're like, here's my hemp. You have to contract with end companies that are selling to consumers or processors to actually get those sales, and they'll tell you your seeding rate, seeding density, harvest method. So farmers are just like, oh my God. And actually in Bakerville, there was the first fiber processing ability in all of North America. And they got up and running in 1998. But now in Edmonton, as of this fall, there are 5 different places where you can go to corticate fiber. And that opens up the possibility for hemp to be used as a full crop, not only for food applications, but also for other applications like plastics, textiles, rosins. And so that's really the exciting movement with the crop. And a lot is being driven. And so you see with hemp, it's very similar to bamboo. It has a hollow inner core. There's 70% of it is the hurd, so the hard inner bits, and the outer bits that are being peeled back are what's known as the fiber, or the bast. That's 30% of the stalk. This is an example of a plastic composite product, a paddle, and it was made by taking the fiber and putting it in a press that's 300 degrees Celsius. So you can do that, you can do textiles, and you can also do pulp and paper, and all this comes from the outer part of the hemp plant that you peel back. Companies like Just Biofiber or 8 Fire Innovation do hempcrete homes. And why is hemp so good for this? Hemp absorbs 1/4 of its weight in water, so they mix it with lime and concrete, and you're able to get like a fire-resistant product, and you're able to get products that are really insulative. So oil, the food products is what's really taken off the industry, and hemp has the same protein content as a peanut. And if you process the hemp hearts, you get a hemp oil seed cake, and that's where you can get protein powder. So the speculation is protein powder will take off. And a lot of people here in the room might have heard of cannabidiols. What there is a non-psychoactive components. Hemp has over 100 of them that are still being researched. And they interact with neurotransmitters in your body for creating homeostasis. And so you'll see a trend towards beverages and cosmetics adding them. Hemp also, not only does it do that, it remediates heavy metals in the soil when it's grown. So it specifically absorbs something called cadmium. I had to look that up. It's this white chemical that's emitted by coal, oil, fossil fuel, and burning of waste. So the roots do that. And who's building products with hemp? It's trade workers. So all the entrepreneurs that I met were like either ex-welders or pipe fitters, and they're just like here to hands-on. And the cosmetic companies were like ex-hairstylists. So there's definitely a profile. But not to say no one else here can get into it. So I really encourage you to realize that hemp is marijuana's cooler cousin. There's so many options, and there's an opportunity to diversify our economy using current skill sets into a sustainable green future. Thank you so much.